Hi class, this is Savannah Vivaldi Sharp. I'm a criminology major here at Framingham State University, and my presentation is on gender, sex, and inequality. So to start off my presentation, I chose this topic because it is very important. As we all know, not everyone is being treated the same, and inequality is definitely a big problem in 2025. So I want to raise awareness on what we can do about it. So my introduction, what is inequality? I'm sure you guys all know, but to give you a recap, inequality is when things are not the same or fair, especially in terms of opportunities, rights, or treatment. So people who usually are dealing with inequality are different races, so Black people, Latino people, gay people or people in the LGBTQ communities, people with disabilities or higher ages. And then sexual violence and abuse is significantly rising in the United States. That is very true. Rape especially is on the high rise right now. Lastly, gender norms. These are society's expectations about how men and women should act, behave, and interact based on their gender. So an example of this could be back in the old days, men were the ones who went to work, and women were the ones who stayed home with the kids, cleaned, cooked, etc. And sometimes that can still happen in 2025. It's less likely to happen, but in a way it does still happen because men would go to work right now and come home and they would call it quits for their night. However, women, they go to a job, they work all day, they come home, and pretty much they have to do a second shift, which we learned about in many lectures. So women, they would work all day, come home, and then cook, clean, take care of the kids, etc., and men don't do that. Only in some cases, but it's definitely a big part in gender norms. So my state of the topic, do higher states with gender inequality equal higher violent acts with women? That is actually true because violence against women is more tolerated. And lastly, with the toxic gender norms, men do often feel entitled to control or dominate women, which equals the higher violent acts with women. Traditional gender norms do affect sexual violence, especially in women. This goes for all genders. Men do play a role in sexual violence, but is not as popular or frequent. So traditional gender norms do play a role in sexual violence because these norms create expectations for society's expectations. So society wants men and women to act this way, which creates a power imbalance to try to excuse that behavior in a way. And lastly, gender norms have a big role in inequalities such as job segregation, unpaid labor, harassment, and assault. An example of this could be usually men are the ones in higher corporations and women are in lower corporations. I did have my citation at the bottom of this. The website I got most of my information from was very valuable, and I think everyone should look at it because I learned so much from it. So my statistics, according to the public access, approximately 25.5 million women and 2.8 million men reported attempted rape in the United States. Lastly, females report they make up a larger share of violent crime victims, which is 51% of all violent victimizations in 2022 compared to 41% of all victimizations in 1993. Also, most of these women came from backgrounds where physical and sexual abuse took place. This could be from growing up where parents had men around and unfortunately they would rape or sexually assault them as kids. This can go from toxic old relationships where abuse would happen, so anything of the sorts. So for my research proposal, I would create an anonymous survey for college students, and I would ask them questions about their awareness and knowledge about gender inequality and violence. I would offer Visa gift cards for their participation, and just overall try to see what people's thoughts are regarding these gender norms, inequality, and violence. I would also see if we could educate and inform the students on these subjects. I'm sure everyone knows at least a little bit about them, but it's likely not as much as they should know, so I would just try to educate everyone a little bit more. For my future research, I would ask the fall 2025 students to make a survey, ask specific questions such as what gender in 2025 has the highest crime rate, and what gender is more likely to be sexually assaulted, etc. So all of those questions I would like to ask, and then I would have them read at least 4 articles based on gender inequality, sexual violence, and gender, and then write down the most important pieces of information from those articles. And then lastly, perhaps the students can specifically find out what and if there is anything we can do to reduce the negative effects on gender inequality, sexual abuse, and gender norms. How can we decrease the effects of these circumstances? And then if you guys have any questions, please reach out to me. And then thank you to everyone listening and watching my presentation. I had a really great semester with you guys and had a lot of fun. And then these are all of my citations that I used to create my presentation. Thank you guys.